Hi guys, this is Dan. Huge welcome if you're new here. August was a bit of a roller coaster reading month for me. I had a popular fantasy book that I have to soft DNF, one epic fantasy that absolutely delivered an explosive finale to a trilogy, and I also have one romantasy that surprised me. And if you know me well, romantasy and me don't usually mix well. So in today's video, I will share all my thoughts on all the books that I managed to finish in August. Mind you, it's a bit shit, including where I struggled, where I was blown away, and one that made me giggle out loud. And before we dive into that, here I want to quickly thank my Patreon for their support to this channel. You all make this possible. If you want to check out my Patreon and have a look at all those bonus perks, the links is in the description below. So now we can dive into my August reading wrap up. So the first book in August, I didn't finish it. I picked up Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio because so many of you keep recommending it. I was really curious to find out this kind of mix of epic fantasy that is set in a space opera. I was able to push through to more or less 60 to 70% of it, but I just can't continue with it, so don't hate me with it. Throughout this series, we will solely focus on our main character, Hadrian, who would later known as the infamous Sun Eater. And reading this series is almost like you are reading his autobiography. In the very beginning of this series, we will follow the youth of Hadrian, his powerful yet dysfunctional family, the expectation that is placed on him, and his own dream to escape that path and find his own way. Along the way, you will get some family drama, political intrigue, and a glimpse of a huge interstellar journey. I pretty much agree with you guys. This is quite a slow burn coming of age story, but set in a sci-fi world that is full of spaceship, alien species, and advanced technology that almost read like a magic system. The pacing was slow for sure, but it is not as slow as like Raymond E. Feist or Ted Williams, those kind of 80s fantasy that I don't like. But coming to over 60-70% into the story, I think the main issue for me is not really about the pacing, but how the plot keep resetting. Hadrian on this journey will keep on finding new people, new places, or even some hope, but then all of a sudden it will be taken away. I kind of get it because it can show you life can get really unpredictable and nothing is for sure. But for me as a character-driven reader, I just find it really exhausting because you got nearly nothing to root for other than Hadrian himself. Also, the narrative style sometimes did confuse me, since it is Hadrian reflecting on his past and telling the story as if we are in there. Sometimes I just lost track what was happening then versus now. Maybe I'm just stupid. This kind of second-person narrative style is not really for me. In the end, it's just not clicking with me, or maybe I was not in the best place to start with this series. So I decided to give this series a pause. I will still hope to get back to this series in the future after hearing some feedbacks from you guys. Is it going to be like this for the rest of the series? Is it going to be this slow, or like this kind of really like nothing for you to root for feeling? Would it still be there? You can share all your thoughts in the comment if you have read this series. Also, Dum Me, before starting this series, I have actually pre-ordered book 4 and book 5 from the Broken Binding. As you can tell, it is the edition from them. So I don't really want to waste them. After such a slow start and also the fact that it was mid-August already and I haven't finished a book, I am desperately in need of something that is more upbeat to read, and luckily my favorite fantasy series didn't disappoint me because I picked up Age of the King by Philip C. Quaintrell, the 6th book of the Echo Saga. If you haven't heard about this series before, where were you? I have been talking about it for so long. Just kidding here. It is a 9-book self-published epic fantasy series that is known for its intricate world-building and its action sequences. Like I said, Age of the King is the 6th book into the series and also the finale of the second trilogy. This second trilogy took place 30 years after the first one during a time of uneasy peace. But this peace didn't last long. A rising dark force known as the Crow, a mastermind of a century-old plan, begin to move against the world. Alongside this, the orcs rise as another major threat. This second trilogy as a whole carries a darker tone, full of despair and hopelessness, as both our familiar and new characters are pushed to their absolute limit. Can I just say, this book is just so immersive, and when I was reading it, I just don't want to put it down. Every chapter flows so seamlessly into the next one. Moving between POVs is just so smoothly that you almost feel like it is one intact story. The first half of the story gave us space to regroup after the intense epic ending of Book 5 and pairing up characters that hadn't been together before. It adds new sparks, deepened the character dynamics, and expanded the plot in such a clever way. The second half of this book, of course, continued to build up to the long-awaited final confrontation, which once again is so cinematic with each side contributing. If I am being completely honest here, I wish the final confrontation could get a bit more bloodier with more casualties, but still it is done very smartly and leaving some hints for the final trilogy. The character arc again is such a huge highlight. Vigon, a new character that is introduced in this trilogy, grew into one of my favorites. He kept on growing and just so charming and layered. Same goes to another new character, a half-fae called Elijah. His journey was painful but fascinating, leaning more towards the anti-hero territory. The level of growth of him is almost similar to Vigon's but in a totally different path, and seeing how they're ending mirroring each other in a surprising way. Again, it is just like a very clever arrangement for all these new characters. I also love seeing the returning characters, all those familiar faces, and blending these two generations seamlessly. And we also see more from the dwarves' politics and forming new alliance. Other than the heroes, the villains also continue to shine. The Crow is such a master planner with the ability to see the future. But here, I just wish there could be some more twist to him because his goal is kind of obvious. Yes, the ultimate plan hasn't been fully revealed yet, so I guess we will see more of that in the next trilogy. Alon remains that arrogant, cunning politic manipulator that readers love to hate. The Orc King brought nuance and depth as we can see his backstory, and I mean choices. Lastly, I think the found family is another theme that continues to shine. All these characters from different backgrounds coming together despite the clashes just make the emotional beats land harder. With all these reasons, I think this final book is on par with other books in this second trilogy, which I gave 5 stars before. So Age of the King, no reason not to give this one a 5-star as well. So at this point, my TBR actually went totally different because all those new releases that I hope to read hasn't been released yet. Yes, Dum me, what a master planner. And also after finishing 2 epic fantasy, I really want something that is easier, more fun, more joyful to read. So I picked up this one, The Paladin's Grace by Kingfisher, the first book of the Saint of Steel series. Honestly, I didn't really expect myself to love this one so much, given that my track record with romantasy is a bit shite. This book was set in a world where a group of paladins suddenly lost their connection to their god. Without this bonding, they would go crazy, they would go berserk, and with this sort of like bloodlust. And for those that have survived this crisis, they form this really tight, really close brotherhood to really look out for each other. In this story, we will follow Stephen, one of those paladins. One day he met another character called Grace in such a strange circumstances. I do mean it is a bit sexual as well. Their paths cross just as a series of gruesome murders and political conspiracy unfolds in the city. We will follow their growing romance alongside with murder mystery, court politics, and dangers at every turn. This is actually my very first time to read anything by Kingfisher, and I know that she is more known for her work in fantasy horror. So Saint of Steel, this series is such a fun surprise. I love the balance of every element in this book. Of course, we're gonna have romance, humor, political intrigue, and mystery. Given that it is a relatively shorter book, it doesn't feel like it is being rushed or any form of messiness. Also, the romance between Stephen and Grace works well for me. I really love this kind of rom-com charm where you can hear the internal monologue of these characters. It just makes the chemistry more fun, more playful, more joyful, and I did giggle a few times when I was reading this book. Although we got like political conspiracy and also the murder mystery along this journey, you won't feel like the romance is taken out as the main part of this romantasy. That's what makes it stronger when I compare it to something like Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I think the elements is kind of similar but in such a chaotic arrangement. Ultimately, I gave this book a 4 star. It is not a book that left me emotionally invested, but it is still an entertaining, very solid read, and I would definitely keep on reading this series in the future. So that is pretty much my reading wrap up for August. It is definitely a mixed bag. I have found 2 books that I enjoy reading alongside with one that I don't think I am at the best place to start it yet. Now, I want to hear from you guys. What was your highlight for your August reading? Did you find any 5-star books, or are you like me, having such a slower reading month? You can share all your thoughts in the comment below. So thank you for watching, guys. If you don't want to miss any fantasy TBR, wrap up, reading vlog, or any other fun ideas, make sure you have subscribed to my channel and like this video. I'll see you all real soon. Goodbye.